In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to AFK the Easter event in Anime Rangers X. But before we go in and do that, would you guys like to have a chance to win a free Game Pass? All you need to do is drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment your Roblox username down below. I give away multiple Game Passes every day. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get on with the video. So if you're trying to go ahead and AFK the brand new Easter event to obtain some of the new rewards, whether that's you're trying to get something from the Ebb Capsule, the title, or stat keys, mini moon, any of these things, if you are trying to obtain them, or if you are trying to actually go ahead and obtain some of the gear that you can get from doing this stage, such as the Chunky Rabbit, Fluffy Focus, Carrot Cutter, Bunny Bounce Boots, or the Ferocious Fluff. I'm going to show you guys how to do it, and I want to make this very, very clear. You do not need the exact same units I'm using in this video, and actually the units I am using in this video aren't even the best ones to go ahead and do this with, but I'm going to explain to you the premise of what you're going to need. You're going to need one unit that does a lot of damage, and this has to basically be your highest DPS unit, and you are going to be going ahead and upgrading this, so you're going to have a decent unit. I would definitely recommend something along the lines of Eclipse Sorcerer. I am using Buddy for this, but Buddy really is not the most effective way to do it, but you're probably something like Eclipse Sorcerer, or something that's just going to go ahead and do a lot of damage, maybe even something you place down multiple times that you're going to want as well. So let's go ahead and get started with this method then. So you need to go over to the Easter event area, and also if you are looking to macro this, I'm going to tell you at what point in the video you should start macroing. So you're going to go ahead and load into this right here, and then you aren't going to do anything at the very, very start. So by the way, I'm making it clear, you want to have your best unit, and then for the other slots, you see I have multiple slots covered. I'll show you again when we've actually loaded in. You want to make sure that you have your fastest and relatively cheap units as well. So we go to units. If you want to know what your fast units are, just go ahead and scroll down to speed, click apply, and it's going to show you your fastest units you have. You don't really want anything that's too expensive. I mean, it just depends on how well you are in the game. If you are later on in the game, there's kind of a different method you'd use for this. But for 99% of people for this, even the best method is just using some units to have some decent speed on. Like I said, these guys really aren't the fastest, and they're not rare units either. Any of these are. So, like, you can go for mixed these. You don't really need to use these exact ones. You just want to use your fastest units you've got. I know there's a lot of ways to make units faster that you can definitely look into. But so when you've got a team of some fast units and one unit that's going to be doing a decent amount of damage, you want to press vote. And then at this point, you're going to start your macro. You can leave autoplay on for this depending on how expensive your unit is. Here, you may want to turn autoplay off and just manually click on these ones. But the first thing you want to do is go to team, and you want to make sure you're maxing out your strong units. For me, it is Bunny Moon. I can't actually max out Bunny Moon at the very start because it's a very expensive unit to upgrade. But you want to try ahead and get you this unit, whatever's in this spot, maxed out quite fast. Usually a lot of units are cheaper than Bunny Moon to upgrade, so you'll most likely be able to afford it with a lower amount. And then after that, you don't need to move, by the way, for this. If you are macroing it, if you just start moving, it's really going to mess it up. So far, at the start of your macro, all you're doing is you're going to team, and you're just spam upgrading your good unit. You don't want to have to scroll down at all, as that's going to completely ruin your macro. So you only limit the amount of units you're using. And you basically just want to keep clicking on this to get upgraded. I am just going to walk just to show you guys how well we're doing. So if you don't know, this boss, it has two different stages. It has its first stage, and basically the reason we're sending these NPCs down, or these units down, is completely utterly, or Rangers, whatever you want to call them, is just to go ahead and slow the progression of the Bunny Easter, while we get some time to upgrade our Bunny Moon. So we can go ahead, or whatever your strong unit is, basically you want to upgrade it. And then you want to get it placed down, and basically with all these units here, they're kind of locking it in place. You can actually throw two of them, at least for my setup. Different setups may require a different amount. Bunny Moon does have stuns, so it's helping me out quite a bit here. But basically, it's going to have two different stages. So the first stage, it isn't really that hard to beat. It's got 900k health, but it does have an ability that I will activate. And this ability is very annoying because it heals 10%. So yeah, you have to make sure you do a decent amount of damage. I'm about 160k. You're probably looking at about, if you've got like multiple 80k at least you want to be looking for. And if you don't have that much, you probably want to see if you can get that up. But you want to basically upgrade one unit to max. You can do this with two units, depending on how much money you have. But I'm going to assume most people probably can't afford to like max out multiple units. And I want to try and keep this as easy to follow as possible. And you may even notice Bunny Easter really hasn't moved right now. It did heal a little bit there, but these guys have got it almost completely locked into place. And they have taken it out just there. Now we have its final form that I'll go ahead and appear with, which the stats on it aren't too crazy other than the health. But if you have done this right, you'd have had it locked into position very early on if you got enough of these units. So like I said, you get faster units that lock it in even earlier in the game, and will keep it a lot more stable in its place. And it's going to kind of just chop away at the HP of the unit. You also would be nice if your unit you are using to do a lot of damage. has like a decent amount of range in it. It doesn't have to have like a crazy amount of range in it, but range will make this a little bit easier. It just means you can survive a little bit longer and you don't have to waste any money on it. As you see, I am fully maxed, but I know I have maxed out like all my money things, and I know a lot of people probably haven't done that, so we won't worry about that too much. You don't need to upgrade your other units. I mean, if you want to, you can, but for the sake of, if you are macroing, you'll be over here when you spawn in, and you're basically just maxing out your Bunny Moonaling autoplay or whatever, you don't have Bunny Moon, whatever you're using instead, whether that's Clip Sorcerer or something along those lines. You're maxing it out, and you're kind of just done after that. You just gotta wait for it to finish. You also then want to click somewhere in the left-hand corner of the screen just to make sure you are leveling up. And like I said, you may need to go ahead, and just in case this order does mess around, the order sometimes does go around, you may just want to upgrade all these. That's why you're using cheap units as well. So you do something like this, it just prevents the order ever mixing up from ruining the problem for you, or like causing you any problem, because these guys, honestly, they cost what, hundreds to level up, so they're not really going to set you back all that much. Now, there is a lot of different like outcomes that can happen in this when doing this game mode, so it is important to know, in my opinion, do the same thing multiple times. So when you are clicking over here in this area, it's basically to play again, because you don't know how long the game is going to be, and you want to keep on just cycling between upgrading and then going back and just playing again. And by the way, you do not want to be moving around if you're not macroing, so there's no need to move around. It's purely just that like tab you should be in. And then anyway, after you beat the boss, it shouldn't take too long, by the way. There is a lot of faster ways you can do this, but I feel like this is just the easiest way to macro it if you want like the minimal effort. Also, these guys are not the fastest for going and clearing it. I've just got some decent stats to them. That's the reason I'm using them. Anyway, though, we went in and cleared the game, got some coins, got some eggs, and we did manage to get any gear. The gear, I think, to get any P space about 2.5%, and then to get the piece you want, it will depend a lot. And the gear is quite useful. But besides the point, you can now go ahead and farm up quite easily a bunch of eggs, which you can use to then either open stuff. If you're wondering what my honest opinion about the best thing to spend eggs on is, and this basically completely and only depends how much you plan on AFK in this stage, and also what you really care about in the game. Because if we're going to be honest, having the Expert Defender title is completely useless to most people, as it's purely a title. But if you really care about titles, then maybe you go for this. Equally, with the Mini Moon, it's an evo item for Bunny, so if you don't have Bunny, there is no point going for the Mini Moon, because it is just going to have zero use to you. So the thing that majority of people are going to be looking at, in my opinion, is egg capsules, perfect stat keys, status keys, and honestly, I think trait rolls are very expensive in this, and I do not think they're worth it. And French fries are the biggest scam out there, but you can get a lot of egg capsules, and these will actually help you out really early on, especially if you are using the codes that are helping you get these. And it isn't really for the units, although a lot of these are actually pretty decent. I'm pretty sure Bunny Girl actually is like a healing unit. I know Yuno is pretty decent as well, and then Bunny is a good one to have. But you can just get trait rolls off this, so I don't know why you would spend such a high amount. Statistically, if you just open eggs, you could go ahead and open 12 eggs, and what is their jet trance at 15%, should get more trait rolls just from opening eggs. So it's definitely worth doing that over it. I suppose if you do need stat keys and perfect stat keys, that is slightly different. But anyway, we'll go open the eggs we've got, because why not? Got 14 of them, but let's just open them all. I don't think we'll get anything that good, as all the drop rates are quite low. It's about 2.5% chance, think again, of getting a unit. So they're pretty hard to get. I'm not expecting to get one, but hey, you get some gold, you get some gems. Gems really aren't too crazy. Go up there, it's alright. Anyway, we went ahead and got some stat rolls there. It's nice to get. And there isn't really much else you can get with the Easter event. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, consider dropping a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll make some more Anime Rangers X videos. And if, yeah, I don't know, if you enjoyed this video, go watch this video. It's a really cool one, I promise, guys, I promise.